Good afternoon, everyone. In today's 15th emergency teach-in, we will be discussing the evolving topic, saluting administrators and all faculty for supporting students protesting genocide. We are joined by our experts, Sinan, Antoon, our cultural landscape expert, Adel, Iskandar, our media landscape expert, and myself, Bassam, Haddad, our social science expert. We are the hosts of the podcast Three Arabs and, which will probably never be recorded because, yeah. Welcome Adel and Sinan and myself to our regularly scheduled emergencies.
Yeah, hello.
People, we are all in awe, tears really, of our university presidents, administrators, and fellow faculty members for unanimously supporting with every bone in their body the valiant efforts of our students as they protest war and genocide and call for ceasefire and divestment from Israel, this century's biggest human rights offender. After decades of attempting to dismantle higher education neoliberally, university powers that be have stifled or shifted gears to calling on law enforcement to break the bones and ribs of our students and faculty, or politely to sit back and watch delightful Zionist mobs beat the shit out of peacefully protesting students, who are all paid agents, of course, of the Ayatollahs and the Houthis, and orchestrated by Hamas, who have all the time in the world to manage thousands of American students in Ivy League schools and public schools and beyond from their own tunnels under Al-Shifaa Hospital. Why else would anyone protest genocide? I mean, think about it. It's a shame that our presidents and administrators are not doing enough to control our campuses. Rubber bullets? Really? That's all you've got at UCLA? And Jad, shameful. Quite shameful. You think students can't handle rubber bullets? Aren't you listening to Congresswoman Stefanik and Congressman Johnson or Johnston, whatever his name is? How about serious assault rifles? Huh? Did you think about this? Did you think about employing serious assault rifles that could actually do a little bit of damage, like the AR-15? Did you think about that? Think about it. Have you ever heard any president just once, put a student in solitary confinement for protesting genocide? And not just any fucking genocide. It's our genocide. It's actually, literally, our genocide. We're paying for it. We live for this. City on a hill and all that good stuff. Where's that? Now, we only killed and maimed 120,000 Palestinians. Sure. But you know how much of your tax money is being spent on this? And all you can come up with is rubber bullets? Only for a bunch of brats on our campuses to ruin everything by setting up tents and encampments to stop us and the Israelis from killing more people? I mean, there's like another 2,200,000 Palestinians in Gaza. You should be embarrassed. مش بس هيك, يعني not only that. These spoiled kids, both in Ivy League and public schools in more than 150 campuses, are wreaking havoc in their encampments. They're violent, obnoxious, threatening other students, especially Jewish students, spewing anti-Semitic chants all the time, non-stop, and God knows what else they're doing. I was so pissed off with this type of behavior that I had to check this out for myself. I just could not take that our presidents, administrators, and a lot of our faculty are not stepping up to put an end to this. For those who still doubt how these encampments are cesspools, yes, cesspools for terrorism and anti-Semitism, watch this video that we were able to put together based on my visit and share it. These encampments are vile, I'm sorry for what you will see and hear. Seriously, can't control this. At the GW encampment, George Washington University, which brings together all DC, Maryland, and Virginia University students in the area, I visited, and this is what we were able to see. I'll let you judge for yourself. This is so boring. I came here for some action, some violence, some racism. Nothing. It's like watching a bag of sand. What are you guys doing here? I mean, why all the... Look at this. Look at this. Why all the violence? Why do you have to call for the killing of all human beings?
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of like our messaging.
Why can't you just be peaceful? Look at this. I mean, it's like it's mayhem. I mean, people are like falling like flies.
Well, we should actually move a little bit over here because the Muslims praying over there.
Oh my God.
They're vile.
People
they're
are
vile.
playing
To God.
praying.
Crazy.
Allah.
That's what they say. I'm not allegedly. I think the violence is really caused by all of the anti-Semitism, because all of the Jewish students who are in here, they feel really unsafe, and that's why they've set up tents.
So you have actual Jewish hostages with you, working with you. So what are you guys doing here? Thank you so much. What about, I mean, do you feel safe being here, given that, Jewish people might actually come to this encampment?
Yeah, so especially as a Jewish person, I feel extremely terrified to be here right now. But fortunately, the community has pulled together and brought me in plenty of diapers for when I shit and piss my pants.
I mean, look at this. It's look, I feel right now at any point we might actually be harmed by the sheer hostility. It's palpable in the air and the violence.
Well, so we're working on going underground. Within each tent, students are working on building tunnels that will connect in an underground network.
Is that why? All the tents doors are closed? The flaps. Oh my God! I just realized the flaps are closed. Yeah, exactly. Oh, except this one. So, what are you guys doing here? Thank you so much. How often do you sort of engage in racist language and discourse against people who don't agree with you?
Oh, personally, I wake up and I have a little book of racist epithets that I open.
So if I want to dox you properly, what should I do?
You can send me your government name, postal code.
So what's your quota? Is there a quota here? With the police officers, they have a quota to sort of pull over people. What's your quota in terms of basically chanting anti-Semitic or any sort of racist slurs?
Oh yeah. For every general positive one, we want to do at least 3 anti-Semitic slurs. Yeah.
And what happens? Is there is this regulated, or do you just can fuck around and do one chant and then just 2 racist slurs, or is there anybody following? Is there a rule-based system here?
We want people to really get creative with it. This is a liberated zone after all, so we'd like to see people really express themselves. So there's not much guidelines past that.
Are these disguised slingshots as hammocks?
Yeah. So
Jesus
every
Christ.
morning, you were talking to my buddy earlier. Every morning, he's Jewish. We load him up in that hammock and we just fire him across camp.
من وين انت؟
من فلسطين.
أهلا وسهلا.
من جنين.
شرفنا من جنين. Oh my God. You're like quadruply oppressed. and occupied and militarized and terrorized and victimized and genocided. طيب شكرا كثير.
عفوا.
سلام.
سلام.
The back of the car.
Are you also against African Americans? You got and Mexican people. Oh my God, look at you. And against Arabs. Okay, so you belong here. It's kind of too quiet here. Are you guys going to be shut down because of that by your fellow student encampment grand wizard officers?
That is a constant worry here. Yeah, you can see people are coming in from all over. We're going to be having a bomb making class fairly soon.
Yeah, but I don't see any Arabs. I mean, there's lots of non-Arabs and non-Muslims. Is this legit hostile and racist and violent, or is it bullshit?
Between you and me, we're in disguise.
Is there a way you can give me some phone numbers and emails and some pictures of the co-organizers, just for fun? My niece likes to have them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I do your shoes? Oh my God, look at this racist people wear for shoes. Look at this. What the hell is this? It's very tight, huh? Excuse me. Sorry. Please stop. Okay, one question.
Who is this?
Quick question. One question. Where do you guys pee?
Huh?
Where do you guys pee?
In a tent.
Which one? All of them? Yeah, he's gonna get us in trouble, both of us. No, but
yeah.
I don't know what to say. If this is not gonna convince everyone about how violent, racist, terroristic, and vile these students and encampments are, I don't know what will. With that, I will turn it over to our media landscape specialist, Adel. Adel, please share with us your view on our presidents, administrators, and faculty supporting our students in their protests against genocide. تفضل.
Thank you so much, Bassam. I'm sorry that you had to go through that experience, but I also acknowledge how much incredible work went into putting yourself at risk in this way. As media scholars, we expend an inordinate amount of time telling you what you already know about the media and that you've already stopped watching anyway. Yes, indeed, media research, like most disciplines of academic inquiry, are committed only to seemingly erudite, highfalutin, incomprehensible, armchair pontification that abstract reality, rendering participatory engagement with life a waste of fucking time. So, in an attempt to change this view, we've broken from the scholarly protocols of impartial, unbiased, objective, and complicit methodologies to undertake ethnographic field research. We've mustered the courage, like you, Bassam, risked our lives, and gotten closer to the unfathomably petrifying field of student life that most of our peers, for whom signing a petition to call for an end of genocide is an act of suicide, not academic suicide, that is, no, literally, emergency intervention inducing, cardiac arresting, meteor creator type suicide. So to save the lives of our voyeuristic colleagues, I've heroically, thank you, gone where few media practitioners dare and visited an encampment to offer you unfettered access to the cesspools of cesspool-y things. Honestly, I will spare you the gory details. You caught a glimpse of that from Bassam, but I had a chance to venture into the University of British Columbia's encampment here in Vancouver. But just a few glimpses into the realities on the ground. Upon arrival, literally an encounter with danger, like stepping into Jurassic Park. I came across dinosaurs roaming free. The rare and ruthless blue-eyed Hamasosaurus pictured here, which feasts on Zionists, wanders freely inside this encampment. Honestly, it was a grueling experience. I had to run for my life shortly thereafter. Of course, there are other instances of monstrosities on that site. The second is this image that I was able to capture with Poe. I don't know, Bassam, if you can find a picture of Poe. This is Poe, the dragon warrior and the most ruthless fighter in the land. Is proof that these encampments are supported by deep-pocketed nations like the People's Republic of China. Communism runs rampant here, and it comes at the hands of warriors who are committed to the death and destruction of humanity. Now, of course, there's another slide here. Encampers are actually depicting their own fear tactics. Okay, I don't think this is the right slide, but okay, we'll talk about this slide. That's okay. So you can see here an inscription using an undecipherable coded language comprehensible only to members of this death cult. Now, as I wandered through the encampment, I saw many such examples of those languages. Some of them don't look like anything that is actually readable, but I want to draw your attention to the fact that these encampments are infiltrated by individuals who communicate in code amongst themselves. It'll take years for us to be able to understand what they mean and what they say. Okay, next slide, Bassam, if you don't mind. Now, here is the example of encampers actually depicting their own fear tactics. A crab and a dinosaur holding a Palestinian flag. These are self-representations and admissions of one's own monstrosity. Look at the size of that crab, comparable to the size of a dinosaur. Honestly, it was absolutely frightening. It's a self-representation. It is a self-condemnation. Now, next slide, Bassam. Okay, now we've heard a lot about anti-Semitism on these encampments. I witnessed it firsthand. Never mind that this particular sign is an insult against law and order, but the use of pigs is a way of deterring and offending Jewish persons. Not only is it not kosher, but according to the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism, this is clearly anti-Semitic because it undermines both Jewish and Muslim Semites. It is anti-Semitism on speed. Next slide. Okay, now this is the part that really hurt me, because as a father, I found myself confronted by a children's play area equipped with such frightening technologies and tools as colors, toys, and crafts. These are spaces of indoctrination where children are taught to play, and thereby turning them into precisely the kind of fearful creatures that we saw and see on our television screens all day, every day. These are madrasas, contemporary madrasas of indoctrination run by Hamas, and where they play and color houses and trees and various other things that really just, I have goosebumps thinking about it. Anyway, next slide, Bassam. And if that wasn't enough, there are also plenty of representations of false history and fraudulent cartography. This particular puzzle depicts the map of Israel pre-1948, implying that there was a map of Palestine. How is it that history exists before 1948? This is a clear fabrication of history, and thereby also an act of indoctrination. And those are plenty. Next slide. And now, of course, no one is free from the circumstances that are happening on this encampment. And of course, here we have strange and incomprehensible representations of marine creatures and marine biology. Even turtles have been recruited and appropriated to justify and imply that something needs to be done about the land and the waters on which we reside and occupy. What does that mean? Please leave those turtles alone. Leave the turtles alone. Next slide. And this, of course, is a clear example of what we've been looking for all along, evidence that there are actually Al-Shifaa hospitals on site at each of those encampments. And if you look below it, you'll see that there is actually a tunnel. And in that tunnel, remember when we were talking about the absence of feminine supplies? Well, there they are. They have been found at this encampment. So the hogging of necessary materials, thank you, Bassam, for the zoom in, just for verification, clarification. So there you have it. And of course, beyond that, there are tunnels, exactly as was the case of the GW encampment. And then finally, this sign, which was very jarring for me, and I'm sure everybody else who is an academic can feel this real deep agony and pain. This sign is an example of the complete disrespect and disregard of the academic profession and its credentials. How is it that anyone can get away with putting up a sign of this kind? We should stand against this unequivocally and collectively. Sorry, I'm just kind of containing my rage.
This is
okay.
This is
Thank you, Bassam,
actually,
and just to make sure,
Adel, this is quite triggering. I think we should have sent out a warning. So I'll just make the warning right now. If you are disturbed by this, if you feel uncomfortable, especially if you feel uncomfortable, especially if you feel uncomfortable, be careful. Go ahead.
Honestly, I'm uncomfortable with the silence, Bassam. Really, it hurts. I also want to say that my deep apologies to anyone with a PhD, because I know this is, we've been through hell to get PhDs, and to be able to use them in a way that ends up affirming the status quo is exactly why we got them. So what is, anyway. So, and just to make sure we've left no stone unturned in our investigation, we took the very same tools of inquiry outside the camp to examine why those academics have been spared and what equips them with the ability to stand so confidently, not just on the wrong side of history, but rather outside history altogether. And herein lies the revelation of this study. The only thing saving universities from the wrath of the death cult that we saw in these encampments, whose anti-war mongering, genocide exposing, and decolonial demanding actions are a violation of both law and human dignity, is actually a very rare condition affecting one of the most vital organs for academics. This is the point where our imposter syndrome, as media scholars, is overcome by false expertise as we go from media scholars to medics. So if you will bear with me for one moment, just need to be ready for this segment. Okay. So the one condition that is impacting our university academics and scholars and peers is a condition impacting the human larynx. Yes, the larynx, home to your vocal cords. The larynx is the most imperative tool in the academic pedagogical arsenal. It is indispensable for long-winded lectures, mind-numbing seminars, indefinite committee meetings, unwelcome preaching, and narcissistic, ego-driven sparring over who owns what theories, whose coined terms are worth coinage, and other vocal expressions of self-aggrandizement. Can you imagine academics no longer having functional larynxes, or laryngi, or larynxi, or whatever the plural is for larynx? Well, guess what? It took a pathology, an infectious disease spreading like wildfire across Western academia, to save many of our peers from the abyss of justice and dignity. I know. We are all used to the illnesses being bad. All conditions and illnesses are bad. We mourn loss and we get sad when we're sick. But think outside the proverbial box for once. Unlike cancer, heart disease, cholera, stroke, diabetes, tuberculosis, and endless lists of ailments that are life-threatening, this condition is actually life-saving. Known medically, in fact, as aphonia clericorum, it is when one loses their voice entirely, excuse me, and are incapable of speaking in a manner that is audible to others. Aphonia clericorum is the reason why so many of our esteemed colleagues and respected peers across Western universities have mysteriously fallen silent these past 7 months. Not a peep. No decibel levels detected. Wait, I hear a murmur. Yeah, no, that's just the sound of students shouting outside the building. It's accidentally coming in. Can we make sure those windows are closed? Thank you. Where was I? So, with this mysterious absence of voice comes the convenience of avoiding any repercussions to speaking truth to power. Since power is an abstraction that is desituated from materiality, truth is ontologically in the eye of the beholder, and we await the messianic return of that beholder anyway, and speaking is now impossible due to this condition, we can safely say that academia is safely soundless. Now, of course, we
Adel,
cannot credit this situation to the larynx
Adel,
alone.
we have a report.
Yes.
Sorry, we just have a report. You know how I just got this text. Sorry, Sinan and Adel, we have to do this, but Sinan, as well. Sorry, we have to do this publicly because I just got the report. Sinan is actually has to leave very soon because he was arrested in the past 2 weeks, and he has to actually respond to his officer's call. Can we let him do his segment and then you go through your really critical last slide about hearing and seeing and so on? Is that okay, Sinan?
Absolutely. Please, this intervention is... Yeah.
Sinan, it's all you for now until you have to go.
Thank you, Bassam. I did not go to graduate school and get a PhD to see our campuses turning into cesspools of violence and hatred. It's really disquieting and disappointing, and I hope I don't know how we can come back from this. Let me say that these past months have revealed the best and the worst about our species and our profession. There are colleagues who, despite the tension and pressure, have shown their dedication to scholarship and critical knowledge, and their commitment to truth and humanity amidst a genocide. I'm sure you all have a colleague who didn't sign the petition for Gaza, or the letter condemning the destruction of all of its universities, or couldn't say a word about the slaughter of children and innocent civilians, as Adel was showing, because they said they were too busy writing a book about decolonization or finishing an article on the Anthropocene. And one must appreciate and admire this dedication to scholarship. Why let a genocide interrupt your deep thoughts and delay your advancement? Others were open, I must say, but they needed more time to reflect and didn't want to rush to judgment. And that's also admirable. We will remember their courage for years to come. Now, other colleagues and administrators have shown creativity in expressing solidarity with Palestinians or with students who are protesting against a genocide. Conservative pantomime has become the favorite choice. Minimal gestures and silence send a very powerful message to no one, but it's still a powerful message and very subtle. So hats off to our silent colleagues, the statues in our faculty meetings. But let me be serious now. I, like many of you, was furious at administrators, deans, and presidents of universities who did not utter the words Gaza, Palestine, or genocide throughout these months. I rushed to judgment in my fury and thought, how despicable.
But Sinan, a colleague of mine did say something about all the violence in the world happening now. I just want to confirm that in December it did happen.
Okay. I mean, there are exceptions as usual. I have colleagues also who said the state of the world. No, but it turns out they had no choice. The New England Journal of Medicine, if we could show the cover, Bassam, published a study about a new syndrome. I mean, this intersects with or challenges Adel's theory. A group of researchers discovered in the US, but also some European universities, particularly in Germany. And they termed it academic mutus. Mutus is from the Latin mute. It seems that those afflicted with this syndrome lose a particular set of words from their active vocabulary indefinitely. And these are Gaza, Genocide, Palestine, Palestinians, GGPP. The study found that administrators began to suffer from this syndrome right after meetings or communications with donors or trustees. And since this syndrome does not adversely affect sentient beings and its harm is restricted to Palestinians, the study made no recommendations for further research or finding a cure. Now, the corporatization of higher education has transformed students into customers, and we know how beneficial that has been. Now, while the customer is always right, there comes a point when a customer is too rude, too rowdy, and just mean. Customer service representatives try to calm them down or call the higher ups, the managers, but there comes a point when a customer crosses all lines by becoming, for example, critical of apartheid or genocide and calling on a university to divest from Israel. That is unacceptable. It hurts other customers and the entire business, affecting ratings and revenues. They have to be silenced and kicked out. As simple as that. And police departments whose record and silky touch are well documented are called upon to assist. The cooperation between university administrators and police departments in these last few weeks is heartwarming and reassuring. University leadership has been phenomenal throughout, showing us yet again that what matters the most to administrators are the wishes of donors and billionaires who carry the torch and show us the way forward to the abyss. Hardworking parents are not sending their children to college and paying thousands and thousands of dollars to have their children, God forbid, become critical citizens, or take a courageous and ethical stance, or stand for something beyond self-interest and personal profit. All this will do is ruin their careers and tarnish their record. And that's outrageous. Presidents should apologize, I think, to the NYPD for how rude the students were and how they made the police feel unsafe on our campus. Now, universities are doing whatever they can. Some universities have added, "We condemn Hamas" to their Latin mottos and insignia. The NYU Board of Trustees decided to amend, quote unquote, a private university in public service, which describes NYU and appears on stationery and pamphlets. They now changed it to a private university in the service of the richest donor or weapon manufacturer. The university has brought in an outside firm of Israeli consultants, retired IDF soldiers, to help advise on how to make our campus safer. One can already see some of the results already. Bassam, if you could show us the image of the wall on campus. Gould Plaza, the site of the first encampment, has been walled off, and there is a checkpoint controlling movement in and out. This will be implemented with other buildings and facilities as well. One of the consultants, inspired by the sight of snipers on the top of buildings at Indiana University, suggested to NYU that deploying snipers beginning in the fall semester might be a necessary move. This was enthusiastically welcomed, but awaits clearance from the legal team. He suggested that if students are shot by snipers, they will be considered unlawful combatants. Any student participating in pro-Palestine activities will be transferred to NYU Tel Aviv for re-education camps. There are suggestions also to issue two types of IDs for students according to their political leanings, and perhaps initiate a pilot program where the university tries out segregated classrooms to ensure safety and that students don't feel anything, they might hear anything they might not like or that might challenge their ideology. If students persist in their malicious activism, there could be a population exchange of sorts to transfer ungrateful and hateful students to a camp administered by NYU in Oklahoma. Now, encampments are calling for a host of things, including a boycott of Israeli universities, claiming they are implicated and complicit with apartheid and settler colonialism. This is so myopic and counterproductive. It would be foolish to cut ties with Israeli universities. Thankfully, administrators have not only refused to acquiesce, but have announced plans and initiatives to strengthen academic cooperation. Students at US universities have so much to learn from Israeli society and culture. Veterans from the IDF will be invited to US campuses to demonstrate their experience in humanitarian relief. Workshops on how to demolish a university in less than 6 minutes. Workshops on how to blow up a hospital and lie about it. How to maintain high spirits and laugh as you blow up an entire block. There is so much to learn. A new interdisciplinary journal called Rethinking Genocide will be inaugurated, and it is supported by a consortium of universities, NYU, Columbia, and UCLA. Its editorial board has some big guns from the field. Benny Morris, Destiny, Jared Kushner, Senator Tom Cotton, Pierce Morgan, and Golda Meir's granddaughter Spet. Now I want to end with this clip of the NYPD saving our community from the evil of encampments. Let's see how they valiantly came to our campus for a second time after being asked so generously and graciously by the president of the university to come save our campus from evil. Can we watch the clip, Bassam?
Consequences Class 101.
Yes. Blue lives matter.
All right, good morning. Turn around, look at that clock up there. 5:30 in the morning. Most of America is sleeping, but you're not. This is going to be our our fourth. This will be our fifth time
working so hard.
Clearing a college facility / property, if you will. So although this morning is the outdoor breezeway, should go smooth, but we always practice and we tactically tack up, if you will, to make sure we get it right. Just remember, you're only as good as your last time you did this. Professional, firm affair. You're dealing with children or teenagers / young adults that aren't at the mental capacity you are at as professional police officers. Keep that in mind.
If we refuse to leave, we may be placed under arrest.
Right now we're at NYU on their campus, on their encampment. There's about 50 tents here. We came in at the crack of dawn. The element of supplies was on our side, but as you can see, some individuals, some students are leaving, and some want to get arrested. But let's take a look at some of the stuff that they have here.
Oh my God.
Look at the water. This is very, very organized.
Sinan, I wish you warned me about this video, Habibi, because, you know, I mean, in the end, we do have to pay attention to, I mean, we don't have to go.
I know, but I wanted to make a confession because I live nearby the encampment, and I personally saw the Houthis drop off all this water, but I didn't want to say anything, but I have to come clean now.
This is triggering. Adel, I don't see you being triggered, Habibi.
Shame on you.
He's looking for the mute button.
I think the glasses are hiding.
We got water, we got
triggered. I
supplies here,
need to mute myself, but also like wearing.
Somebody is definitely
Behind
this. Somebody is definitely
My God.
supplying this. There is definitely.
Oh my God, is this why they're covering the face?
Look at these encampments over here.
That was one of the Houthis.
We are here to help any way we can once called. We received a letter from NYU stating that they do not want this encampment anymore. They want our help to clear this encampment. That's what we are doing.
My God.
Like I said before, there are people, professional agitators.
How much of this do we have to watch, Sinan? This is really disturbing.
Look, we just have to make academia great again. I mean, that's the message.
My
We
God.
all
That are radicalizing our students. And just by some of the signage and some of the leaflets that we see around here, the radicalization is real.
Damn right, it's real. Adel, as a media expert, do you have any comments very quickly before we go back to your clip?
I just wanted to thank the NYPD for this extremely professional work that they've produced this video. I mean, this is unfettered access, exclusive footage from the inside of their operations, showcasing the remarkable finesse and caution and attention to detail. I mean, the fact that they recognize that these are individuals who are like children. I mean, the way one treats their children, this is kind of like the carrot and the stick. Like, we'll just cajole them, and then if not, they get a spanking. It's just I was very heartwarmed by the effort that it went into producing this video and to make it publicly available so that all of us can watch and learn about NYPD's
the care and concern is really heartwarming.
account. So,
Yeah. Adel, do you want to
absolutely.
share with us your last slide so that we could? There is a lot of people asking if we can show the hard evidence that we provided at the outset of the emergency teach-in and at the GW encampment. So I'll let you finish up your last slide so that we don't miss anything.
Yeah, no, I think that's really important. I'm sorry to bring this back to kind of the medical conditions, but again, we are about diagnosing pathology, right? So we talked about how the larynx, there's a condition impacting academics that makes them incapable of speaking the things that they want to say, or things that should say. So, of course, we can't credit the larynx alone. There's evidence of widespread deafness to the sounds of students, loss of vision in the face of tens of thousands of videos from Gaza, and acute amnesia, which is erasing academics' ability to remember the very things they teach and specialize in, impacting their ability to apply the so-called real world. These conditions appear to be disproportionately high among political scientists, historians, and scholars in the sciences. Of course, these conditions pale in comparison to the chronic conditions that afflict university administrators. We should really cut them some slack. I'm serious. Do you even know what they have to deal with? Don't be fooled by their ivory towers. These ivory towers are actually their safe spaces, where their communities of carelessness come together to take carefully calibrated decisions that impact the lives of so many. The psychological impact of such pressure alone has left so many of them medically vulnerable and in precarious health. I hope these revelations get to those protesting at the encampments. If you're protesting an encampment, listen to this very carefully. We need to have mercy on our university elders and spare them further injury from our or your hurtful, unsympathetic words. I didn't want to say this because of the possible breach of health confidentiality, but here we go. We've seen thousands of reported cases of spinelessness among university presidents across the US and Canada. Some have assumed it was a novel form of alignment problem like scoliosis, where the back is tilted sideways, or kyphosis, where people are in a hunchback, or lordosis, where the head is facing up. Of course, that matches the description of university administrators, their lordship and magisterial positioning. But upon closer examination, we note that, in fact, the complete absence of a vertebral column, leaving them to have to live without a spine altogether. Can you imagine what life is like without a spine? And that's just the tip of the coccyx. I mean, that is the last part of the vertebral column. There's another condition sweeping university administrators. We've also seen countless examples of what professionals call mythomania, or psychiatrists call pseudologia fantastica. I hope you're taking notes here, by the way, which is commonly known as compulsive lying and myth-making. No amount of late night primal screams outside the administrators' offices or homes, or tens of thousands of petitions and statements, or encounters with facts can cure this condition, which may require further or far heavier doses of reality, such as firing. I'm sorry I used that word. By that I don't mean, I mean being kicked out of the job, not really firing someone on someone. And I don't want it to be misconstrued because they're going to use the Smithomania. Another condition that has been well documented among senior administrators is amnesia. Unlike the one exhibited by faculty that we talked about earlier, this is especially serious because it takes two forms at once: long-term amnesia and short-term amnesia. The long-term amnesia makes them categorically unable to summon past experiences and circumstances, such as student protest movements and mobilizations, as well as the responses of their own predecessors, presidents of universities, during the civil rights movement, the anti-Vietnam War movement, the anti-apartheid movement. These periods are simply erased from cerebral cortexes altogether. And then the second is the short-term memory amnesia. However, is more serious because it makes the patient unable to remember experiences that they just had. This one in particular is serious because it has spread like a virus across universities' upper admin, as presidents, provosts, rectors, and deans have their memories wiped clean from the words that they themselves have expressed about. They just talked about diversity, inclusion, equity, decolonization, academic freedom, and engagement with communities. But what is most alarming than that too is a third and most novel variant. This third form of amnesia, never before seen, but encountered now. It's never been documented scientifically. This is a condition that I am tentatively calling simultaneous amnesia, which is when one forgets what they are saying as they are actually uttering the words. This weekend, at thousands of colleges and universities across North America, presidents, provosts, rectors, and deans are giving speeches at graduation and convocation ceremonies about changing the world, inspiring action, speaking one's mind, and standing up for justice and rights, while simultaneously exhibiting the inability to know what the fuck they're talking about. This is textbook simultaneous amnesia. Simultaneous amnesia is the reason why senior admin look like deer in the headlight when they encounter students doing exactly what they are telling them to do. Now, instead of criticizing and reprimanding them, we should have mercy on them for their ailments and what they have to deal with, and find ways to further inflate their salaries to ensure that they can access the healthcare services that they need to address these. Luckily, wealthy donors have stepped in to ensure that our administrators get much needed break to recuperate instead of resigning them to remain pulse-free, incapacitated vegetables who need politicians to run their universities, police to secure them, and lobbies to teach in their universities. Now, during these extraordinary times, please, I implore you, have some compassion for your presidents, provosts, rectors, and deans as they struggle with health ailments and conditions that are born out of privilege that they simply cannot begin to comprehend. We should finally recognize that we are privileged not to possess the privileges that they have, because otherwise it would have left us with the struggles that they have. Without vision, without hearing, without poise, without memory. That is what they're suffering from. To all those protesting and admonishing these hard-working laborers, check your privilege. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Adel and Sinan, for your remarkable insights, and thanks to myself for my wonderful insights as well. Because nobody thanks me, I get to thank everybody. And with this, let me ask you a last question. Is there anything else you'd like to share? Sinan, given that you were arrested, is there anything, because you were trying to beat up a student and they thought you were protesting with them and trying to actually, guard and protect them. Do you have anything to share?
No, I just wish I have the opportunity again to beat up another student. But let's not talk about the arrest, and let's focus on Gaza.
Annihilating Gaza, absolutely. All right, everyone, there is a demand and a request that we actually show the evidence that demonstrates beyond a shadow of a doubt that these encampments are cesspools of violence, hatred, anti-Semitism, terrorism, and all kinds of vile behavior. So with that, we will go to the video of the encampment that I had to go and visit to see for myself what is going on in these horrible, reprehensible sites. This is so boring. I came here for some action, some violence, some racism, nothing. It's like watching a bag of sand. What are you guys doing here? I mean, why all the, look at this, why all the violence? Why do you have to call for the killing of all human beings?
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of like our messaging.
Why can't you just be peaceful? Look at this. I mean, it's like it's mayhem. I mean, people are like falling like flies.
Well, we should actually move a little bit over here because the Muslims praying over there.
Oh my God.
They're vile.
People
they're
are
vile.
playing
to God.
Praying.
Crazy.
Allah.
That's what they say. I'm not allegedly. I think the violence is really caused by all of the anti-Semitism because all of the Jewish students who are in here, they feel really unsafe, and that's why they've set up tents.
So you have actual Jewish hostages with you, working with you. So what are you guys doing here? Thank you so much. What about, I mean, do you feel safe being here, given that, Jewish people might actually come to this encampment?
Yeah, so especially as a Jewish person, I feel extremely terrified to be here right now. But fortunately, the community has pulled together and brought me in plenty of diapers for when I shit and piss my pants.
I mean, look at this. It's like, look, I feel right now at any point we might actually be harmed by the sheer hostility. It's palpable in the air and the violence.
Well, so we're working on going underground. Within each tent, students are working on building tunnels that will connect in an underground network.
Is that why all the tents doors are closed? The flaps? Oh my God, I just realized the flaps are closed. Yeah, except this one. So what are you guys doing here? Thank you so much. How often do you sort of engage in racist language and discourse against people who don't agree with you?
Oh, personally, I wake up and I have a little book of racist epithets that I open.
So if I want to dox you properly, what should I do?
You can send me your government name, postal code.
So what's your quota? Is there a quota here? With the police officers, they have a quota to sort of pull over people. What's your quota in terms of basically chanting anti-Semitic or any sort of racist slurs?
Oh yeah. For every general positive one, we want to do at least 3 anti-Semitic slurs. Yeah.
And what happens? Is there is this regulated, or do you just can fuck around and do one chant and then just 2 racist slurs, or is there anybody following? Is there a rule-based system here?
We want people to really get creative with it. This is a liberated zone after all, so we'd like to see people really express themselves. So there's not much guidelines past that.
Are these disguised slingshots as hammocks?
Yeah. So
Jesus
every
Christ.
morning, you were talking to my buddy earlier. Every morning, he's Jewish. We load him up in that hammock and we just fire him across camp.
من وين انت؟
من فلسطين.
أهلا وسهلا.
من جنين.
شرفنا من جنين. Oh my God. You're like quadruply oppressed and occupied and militarized and terrorized and victimized and genocided. طيب شكرا كتير.
عفوا.
سلام.
Back of the car.
Are you also against African Americans. You got and Mexican people. Oh my God, look at you. And against Arabs. Okay, so you belong here. It's kind of too quiet here. Are you guys gonna be shut down because of that by your fellow student encampment grand wizard officers?
That is a constant worry here. Yeah, you can see people are coming in from all over. We're going to be having a bomb making class fairly soon.
Yeah, but I don't see any Arabs. I mean, there's lots of non-Arabs and non-Muslims. Is this legit hostile and racist and violent, or is it bullshit?
Yeah, between you and me, we're in disguise.
Is there a way you can give me some phone numbers and emails and some pictures of the co-organizers, just for fun? My niece likes to have them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I do your shoes? Oh my God, look at these racist people wear for shoes. Look at this. What the hell is this? God, very tight, huh? Excuse me. Sorry. Please stop. Okay, one question.
Who is this?
One question. Where do you guys pee?
Huh?
Where do you guys pee?
In a tent.
Which one? All of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna get us in trouble, both of us. No, but
yeah.
Wow, if this was not enough, folks, I just received a video from a colleague who actually filmed an event at the encampment, the same encampment which I obviously had missed. Let's check it out, and with that we will say thank you, Sinan, thank you, Adel, thanks to myself for this 15th emergency teach-in. We will see you next week with another, or the week after, or at some point when an emergency occurs, because we can predict emergencies happening a few days or a few weeks ahead of time. With that, thank you all so much, and we will leave you with this abominable, empirical evidence of what is being chanted at these encampments. Salam alaikum and bonsoir.
Palestine needs her freedom,